Hey, it's AW and we back today, guys. And today we're going to discuss the top 10 largest cosmologies from smallest to largest in anime and manga. We will be talking about only mainstream anime and shonen. I felt like I need to do this video because many scalers don't discuss cosmology, and it is always fun to get into. Cosmologies are important because it determines relatively how powerful those characters are to other characters of other verses. When you're comparing cosmologies, how large a cosmology is will let you know whether you should even have this character versus this character in the ring. One thing to note, just because a character has a larger cosmology does not mean a certain character can't beat a character from a smaller cosmology. It just means the characters as a whole are more powerful. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen is up here. It's a fairly new anime or manga or shonen. It is because it is centered around curses, cursed energy, and cursed spirits. Ultimately, cursed spirits are the result of humanity's sins and suffering. They are from the world of the verse and not from a separate dimension or world. So they originate from the cursed energy of the humans within the Jujutsu Kaisen verse. So they are not from a different dimension or another world. Now, as many veteran scholars understand, the writer determines how large the cosmology will grow through information, character development, and extras such as data books and light novels. So understand that cosmology can grow larger than where it originally started. So this list is not set, but it is current. So while Jujutsu Kaisen characters are extremely powerful and they have some of the best choreographed fights, they still have not shown to have a cosmology that is larger than normal or a normal universe. Jujutsu Kaisen's cosmology is centered around curses being created on Earth. While there are ancient curses, none of them reside in a different plane or a different world. All of them reside within the Jujutsu Kaisen verse. Now, what we have coming in at number 9 is an all-time favorite. We have Full Metal Alchemist. Now, Full Metal Alchemist slides into this list easily due to the existence of the truth or the eye of God. So, if you watch Full Metal Alchemist, if you watch the beginning or if you watch the end, the eye of God or the truth is in from the beginning and he's in the end of the Full Metal Alchemist. If you actually watched and pay attention, the truth's job is to uphold the balance of equivalent exchange and to punish those in the Full Metal Alchemist verse that upset the balance using alchemy. Many desire power through alchemy within this verse, and so the truth is there to punish those who get too close to God. For example, Edward and Alphonse, if you remember in the beginning, they tried to bring their mother back. Where Edward lost his, Alphonse lost his entire body, and Edward just lost his arm. If you remember, if you notice, due to Edward having just a glimpse of the gate of truth, and of course passing the test truth set before him, Edward had achieved a demigod-like power, rivaling even his father. Hohenheim was deemed the most powerful alchemist in the entire world. So Edward's father was one of the most powerful alchemists to have ever been created, and actually the first. I believe he's the first alchemist. Father is a homunculi, the first homunculi. He caused the devastation that set forth the motions for the storyline that we have now within the Full Metal Alchemist verse, due to him desiring the power of God. You can easily see, though, after Edward had seen the gate of truth, you could see how powerful Edward had become just from being exposed to the gate of truth. Almost like he had demigod like powers. Nevertheless, the existence of a higher level being is evident throughout the Full Metal Alchemist verse, forcing Full Metal Alchemist cosmology to be recognized and noted as a very large cosmology. The existential being that is mentioned in the beginning of Full Metal Alchemist and the end, truth. Truth is there to uphold the balance of the Full Metal Alchemist verse. Truth, even when he was beaten by Edward, And Edward said, I don't desire power anymore with alchemy. I have everything I need right next to me. Truth finally saw that Edward understood. And it was through that truth allowed Edward to gain the power of God. And Edward was ultimately able to defeat Father. So this next one comes in at number 8. And we have to give it its dues. Strictly because it's a very popular anime. And the next anime we have is Hunter x Hunter. When we're discussing now, Hunter x Hunter shoots into this list at number 8 strictly because of the different beasts and animals that inhabit the Hunter x Hunter verse. While many of them do possess humanoid traits, there are some from the Dark Continent that do not come from Earth or their world. A prime example of this would be the entity that is attached to Killua's sister. The entity that is attached to Killua's sister called Nanaka. This type of entity or character reveals and gives proof of a world within the verse of Hunter x Hunter that defies the normal rules of the verse or even Earth itself. If you understand Nanaka's power, you understand that she is an entity that is extremely, extremely deadly. Her powers are not of this world. Okay, let's just say that. She's not of the normal Hunter x Hunter world, and it is explained and displayed within the Hunter x Hunter verse as her being possessed by this entity, and it's an ancient entity. Anything from the Dark Continent is supposed to be extremely old. So she's possessed by this entity. This leads, due to the Dark Continent having creatures that are not from Earth or that verse, it opens a question of where do they come from, which also lead into the question, what world or universe did the creatures of the Dark Continent appear from? Do they even appear from a different world or universe? It's never stated within the Hunter x Hunter verse. And how did they get to Earth? In terms of cosmology, due to there being creatures from a different world and the fact some of these creatures are well over hundreds of years old, we have to include the Dark Continent as being a statement of cosmology, or a statement of proof of that the cosmology of Hunter x Hunter is larger than the normal universe. There are creatures residing there that are not from the normal Earth of Hunter x Hunter, thus proving that the Hunter x Hunter cosmology is larger than the average verse. Now, when we jump down to number 7, we have a very favorite of mine. Actually, probably one of my favorite shonen. Probably my favorite shonen is One Piece. Now, One Piece. Now, if cosmology was ranked solely on how many characters a verse can boast, then One Piece would be at the top. The reason this shonen comes in only at number 7 is because while it boasts a high volume of characters from different planes or higher level beings, as many of the races and beings all possess humanoid like features and have relative power to the average character of the verse, as water can easily be seen covering most of the earth, allowing for different humanoid beings and races to inhabit it. Now, I will say this: due to the technology of One Piece, it is larger than a normal universe in terms of the people. As I stated, you have Sky Island. Of course, we don't have that. You also have the ocean level. So their verse or cosmology is larger than a normal verse. You have the mer people. You have different races of characters, especially when you're talking about the ocean. As the ocean to me, it's not a different dimension. It's not a different world. But due to the One Piece verse and how it is composed, it is greatly larger than our normal universe. And strictly from the fact that they have people living in the skies as well, large number of peoples, large nations living in the skies. You have to conclude that their universe is much larger, at least than the average Earth. One Piece does have an even larger world than the average Earth, as it is even evident as water can easily be seen covering most of the earth, allowing for different humanoid beings and races to inhabit. Like I said, not to mention Sky Island and the other hidden cities and civilizations placed all over the world. Now, when we're discussing Black Clover, one thing we have to realize is that there are multiple magic kingdoms with a wide variety of characters in different kingdoms other than the Clover Kingdom within the Black Clover cosmology. Black Clover is a very large cosmology, and the introduction of devils proved an even larger cosmology than what was originally stated in the beginning of the Shonen, as devils and their magic are from the underworld. The underworld is home to a very old race of powerful beings, devils. The underworld is divided into 7 layers ruled by 3 rulers. If you include that world, included with Ostas, you get an extremely large universe, as souls must go somewhere, as human souls must go somewhere else, as there are human souls in the underworld within the manga or anime. So we have to conclude that the Black Clover verse is beyond the normal sized universe and actually one of the largest cosmologies in anime and manga. You have to understand that due to the human race and the souls that are included within the Black Clover verse, people die. The souls have to go somewhere. The souls have to go to another verse. Now maybe maybe there is no afterlife. I highly doubt that though, and the reason I highly doubt that is there are certain hints within the Black Clover verse that show that souls are attached to a different plane or a different dimension. So understanding that and being keen on that, on these little hints, for example, 5 we have Yu Hakusho. Now, Yu Hakusho is a great example of a cosmology that is much larger than the normal size Earth or universe, but not so large. It's complex. It's not a complex universe. For example, hell and a sort of heaven, or and a demon realm. So you have to understand that hell and the demon realm are not the same within the Yu Yu Hakusho cosmology. This is evident through Yusuke's death. When Yusuke died, he turned into a spirit or ghost. Botan, the Grim Reaper, explained how she is the Grim Reaper and she ferries spirits to the spirit world, confirming higher dimensional beings within Yu Yu Hakusho. Koema, the son of the ruler of the spirit realm, confirmed the opposite realm, that the demon realm does exist, and this is where most of the demons come from. Koema is the son of King Yama, proving even higher beings exist within this verse. So, when Botan, Yusuke, and Kuwabara encountered the Makai insects within the Yu Yu Hakusho cosmology, it gave proof to even deeper regions of the spirit realm, as it stated that the Makai insects are from the deeper realms of the spirit realm. So there looks like there are realms within the spirit realm that are also more dark or more underworldish, uh, giving light to a cosmology extremely large. There have been many hints throughout the Yu Yu Hakusho verse that also gave even greater proofs through the demon world. As not to be confused with the spirit realm, the demon realm was expanded on during the Demon World tournament, where Yusuke Urameshi turned into a demon and defeated one of the strongest characters in the show, Yami, one of the rulers of the demon world, proving that the Yu Yu Hakusho cosmology is extremely large, as you still have to include Yusuke's Earth and the location, as his whereabouts have never been discussed, as he is the true ruler of the spirit realm. When we come down and we look at number 4, guys, in my opinion, the cosmology was just already headed at a very fast rate to increase. The One Punch Man cosmology, it enlarged at an extremely fast rate. One Punch Man boasts a large array of characters in this verse, but what make it so high on this list is the existence of aliens such as Boros, monsters such as Orochi, and the hint of there being a god or higher level being throughout the One Punch Man verse. That last one proves that this cosmology is extremely large. For example, in the One Punch Man manga and anime, it's stated Boros traveled the universe for 20 years in search of Saitama or someone as strong as Saitama to face. The question becomes, where did he come from? Where did Boros come from? What else is out there? Orochi also wanted to summon God and absorb his powers. Who is God and where does he exist? Due to due to Morota and one hinting at God, it is safe to assume that the One Punch Man cosmology is extremely large, due to the existence of an existential being or God that seems to be still not governing the verse, but inside the verse, incorporated in the verse. The One Punch Man cosmology is unique because it is one of the cosmologies that has enlarged exponentially. And what I mean from that is every fight started to have more weight. Every fight has started to have more value, all the way up until you look where he fought cosmic level Garo. And that was just a huge and humongous fight. I suspect that this cosmology will rise higher on this list. That is my prediction. As I stated before, cosmologies are not set. They are not. There's nothing that says this cosmology has to be this large. This is just what they are currently. But due to the nature of this verse in cosmology, I think it will increase in 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 the very near future. It will get larger. When we jump down to number three, we have Naruto. Now, Naruto, as you guys know, is a very large cosmology. Uh, it was enlarged due to the fact you still have their Earth, but you also have the Sutsi clan. You have Kaguya in her multiple dimensions, her 6 dimensions. You also have other dimensions, as you looked at and you noticed when you looked at and you noticed Momoshiki and Urashiki in a different dimension. Speaking about Kaguya, how she's strayed away from the Susi clan's rules, and just discussing that and talking about traveling to Naruto's dimension. If you understand this, then you understand that this cosmology is extremely large. The traveling dimensions, we have beings that are not of human race within the ninja world. They're the Susi clan. This cosmology is still getting larger also due to the Boruto anime. Now, I don't watch the Boruto anime. I'm not a big fan of Boruto. But I do know the cosmology is getting larger, and the cosmology is getting larger due to certain powers being added to Boruto, as I've rumored and heard. Also due to Naruto getting power ups, Ishiki as well. The new antagonist within the Boruto show is also increasing the cosmology as well. But the cosmology, once Kaguya was introduced and she displayed that she can travel between 6 dimensions at will. She could place other beings in certain dimensions. The cosmology of Naruto increased drastically. She was also a higher level being, one which she is yet to die. She's not dead. People don't understand that Kaguya is not dead. She was only sealed away. She's a very powerful being, extremely powerful. She raises the cosmology as well. When you have that level, all of these 6 worlds that she created, when she was active, the 6 dimensions that she had complete control over, all had their own ecosystem, probably their own set of planets and things, stars and things like that. So this cosmology, in terms of size, is up there with basically the big three. When we look at Dragon Ball, I mean, the next one is one that is extremely large, no doubt. It is definitely larger than Naruto, and it comes in at number 2 because it's arguably one of the largest cosmologies in all of manga and shonen. and it contains such a wide array of species that at one point it was the largest cosmology undoubtedly, and that is Dragon Ball. Now, Dragon Ball comes in at number 2 due to the size of its multiverse. Since the creation of the Super Dragon Ball multiverse, this has increased in an already abnormally large universe. Dragon Ball's extremely large cosmology is evident in the fights on more than one occasion. The Earth and universe has been in danger. Due to the extremely large cosmology of Dragon Ball, only a few anime characters and verses can be matched up to Dragon Ball characters when power scaling. Dragon Ball is unique. Now, as I've stated before, every cosmology is unique in some form or fashion, but what makes Dragon Ball stand out is the progression of the scale of fights starting with Dragon Ball. As the Z fighters got older, all of the powers increased except a few, but generally speaking, the battles began to gradually become bigger in scale. Honestly, once the Frieza arc ended, there was no cosmology larger than Dragon Ball at the time. Dragon Ball is unique in that its cosmology has grown and enhanced, and the weight of its fights have also grown and enhanced. No anime or manga has done that as well as Dragon Ball throughout history. There is no anime or manga that has stood the test of time as far as its cosmology holding up and its cosmology steadily increasing. Now, the largest cosmology on this list is Bleach. This anime comes in at number 1 not because of its fights, but because of multiple reasons. Reason number 1 is the author within Bleach discussed the cosmology in detail in the light novels. Bleach Can't Fear Your Own World. It is stated within this light novel as the Soul King and different worlds are discussed. One example and key detail that is discussed within this light novel is Earth being the seal to hell. And this is just one example, as it is discussed in the main Bleach manga of the existence of the World of Void or Gargantua that surrounds the entire Bleach verse. Understanding that and understanding that the Earth is the seal to hell, you should already be able to deduce that Ichigo's world is extremely large. The Bleach verse is what I would call a superverse. As you can notice, there are multiple other worlds residing in Gargantua, including Earth and the other worlds. You have yourself an extremely large cosmology and extremely large verse with different dimensions. The third reason is a little bit more complex, but if you understand Shupon, Sonido, and Hirinyaku, then you will understand that these are faster than light movement techniques. These faster than light movement techniques would help Bleach characters transverse their verse if the World of Void was not there, or Gargantua. See, Ichigo can transverse the Dragon Ball verse at the same speed or even faster utilizing Shunpo. The issue is the distance and the fact Shunpo is still a physical movement that takes energy to use. Instant transmission does not rely on physical capabilities, and that's why it is superior, not because it is a faster technique than Ichigo's Shunpo, but because it doesn't take any physical movements. The Bleach cosmology boasts an extremely large cast of characters as well, with a variety of different races and creatures. While the fights do not always seem to have the weight of Dragon Ball fights or One Punch Man fights, it can be argued that this is due to the Bleach cosmology being larger than Dragon Ball or One Punch Man as of right now. There are more than 12 universes or worlds within the Dragon Ball cosmology. All 12 of these worlds are easily able to fit into Gargantua, and many of the Bleach characters can match up with most of the characters in other verses pretty well. If you understand this, then you understand that the cosmology of Bleach is also still increasing. So I want you power scholars to understand that the cosmologies currently right now that are still actively increasing. Dragon Ball, Bleach, One Punch Man, and Naruto. Black Clover, One Piece. I'm not sure about Hunter x Hunter. Full Metal Alchemist is done. And Jujutsu Kaisen is also still increasing. But as I stated, we'll see which one actually comes out on top once it's all said and done and all of these are finished. But currently, right now, these are the largest cosmologies within the shonen mainstream community. Starting from